So this is the RG Cube, which appears to be the next handheld that will be coming down the Anbernic pipeline. It's been generating some buzz on Reddit and other forums over the past week or so, and on top of that, Anbernic just released an official promo video. Now it appears that it will be the follow-up to the RG35XX SP, which just released and has really garnered a lot of praise. But this particular handheld seems to be positioned as a competitor to the PowKiddy RGB30, which currently sells for around $95. Anbernic hasn't provided an official release date yet for the Cube, but we do have its technical specifications, so let's take a look. Now the thing that stands out most with this device is the screen. It's actually a 1:1 aspect ratio. It's a 4-inch IPS display, touchscreen, and will output at 720 by 720. Now what sets it apart from the PowKiddy RGB30 is, as you can see, it has a more powerful chipset and will also feature more RAM at 8 GB of DDR4. The Cube will also have 128 gigs of internal storage and of course also an expandable micro SD slot. Now this makes it very similar in configuration wise to the RG556, but it will have a slightly smaller battery capacity compared to the RG556, which is likely due to having a smaller screen. We don't have pricing information yet on the Cube, but since it is so similar to the RG556, they will probably be priced very similar as well, maybe even the Cube being a little bit on the cheaper end. But the RG556 released at $175 roughly US when it launched, and so probably the Cube will be around there, or perhaps, as we mentioned, hopefully a little bit less than that. Now it's also good to know that the RG Cube will use stacked shoulder buttons, which tend to be preferred by most in the community, and these will be Hall triggers, the R2 and L2, so we will be able to get analog input for those systems that need it. Since the device will be running Android, it's nice that it sports a touchscreen, which will also be good for emulating a Nintendo DS and some 3DS games. The weight of the unit is not too bad at 256 grams, and as can be seen in the promo video, it will have an active cooling system. So now let's touch on some of the pros and cons of this device. So first of all, one of the big talking points on Reddit right now and other forums is the screen, the 1:1 aspect ratio. Now for some this is very intriguing because it should handle systems like Game Boy Color and the original Game Boy quite well, Pico 8 games, perhaps even vertical arcade games, and even the Super Nintendo with its kind of funky aspect ratio of 8:7. However, this will be wonky when playing games that are in the more traditional 4:3 aspect ratio, and then games that are wider than that are really going to be squished, so that might be a potential deal breaker for some. Now another thing that could be considered a positive is because this chipset is the same as the one used in the RG556, we can expect that it will probably play a good 80 to 90% of PlayStation 2 and GameCube games, which is fantastic. However, as usual, a lot of that will have to do with how well the Android software is optimized, and if there's any custom firmware that eventually is made available by the modding community. Now another area where the Cube has kind of been getting hammered, at least at first, was the aesthetics of the device. It has been compared to the Leapfrog Leapster because of its childlike appearance. Now thankfully Anbernic did release some more color options, which has kind of helped a little bit. Personally, I wish they would release one in the GameCube's old color palette, since they are calling it the Cube, and it will play GameCube games, but it doesn't look like my wish is going to be fulfilled. So there's what we know for now on the RG Cube from Anbernic. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Are you looking forward to this particular system, or will this be a pass for you? Either way, until next time, thanks for watching, and happy gaming, my friends.